I'm Antonio Gonzalez, and welcome to Strategy Session, our regular show on politics and policy. Today we're here at Sabor Colombiano in the Pico Union area of Los Angeles. This is the third interview, the third episode of our voter education series on the special election for Congressional District 34. If you've seen the first two episodes, you know that District 34 was occupied by Javier Becerra for 20 years. It's located in northeast LA, considered an historic Chicano, Mexicano, Latino district, deep roots here in the City of the Angels. Becerra, of course, is now the first Latino Attorney General, maybe in California history, certainly the first in 100 years. He's busy in Sacramento duking it out with, I hate to say this, President Trump. Those words don't roll off my lips easily. Nevertheless, we're here, and today we'll be interviewing Sara Hernandez, who is a top-tier candidate for the special election to replace Javier Becerra, which is just, oh my God, it's less than a month away on April the 4th here in Los Angeles. So stay tuned for Sara Hernandez. Welcome back to Strategy Session. I'm your host, Antonio Gonzalez, and we're here today to interview Sara Hernandez, who is a leading candidate for Congressional District 34 special election, which will be in less than a month here in LA. Sara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's get right into it, Sara. You're a longtime professional community leader. You're a teacher here in LA. You're running for one of the highest positions in the land, to be a member of the U.S. Congress. I got to ask you right off the top, why are you running?
Why am I running? Yeah, well, I mean, that's the number one question everyone's asking. Every candidate, 23 different candidates in this race. I mean,
23.
23.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. But you know, I think the overarching theme in this race is that this is really a fight against injustice, right? I like to say injustice runs in my blood. I'm the daughter of two civil rights attorneys that spent the majority of their life fighting for the rights of migrant farm workers in the fields of the Salinas Valley. I grew up in Salinas. Was a child of...
That's good turf.
It is good turf.
It's good turf. It creates good leaders.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, I grew up.
I know it well.
I grew up, in the midst of UFW marches in Watsonville, Teatro Campesino in San Juan Bautista, local politics in Salinas.
My day job, Southwest Voter Registration Project, did voting rights litigation there to create the district elections in the city of Salinas. That's good turf, good people.
Yeah, my parents worked for California Rural Legal Assistance.
Okay, I know.
Yeah. My dad was a public defender. My mom created her own practice to defend migrant farm workers. And so, they really taught me and my brother that no matter who you are, whether you're a legal aid attorney or you're an activist or you're a teacher, that we all have to do our part to make sure that we're moving our communities forward, that we are holding up our most vulnerable, and we're fighting against injustice. And so their movement was the farm worker movement. I am very, very passionate about education. I am the product of public schools. I went to a high school that was, started ninth grade with 700 kids, graduated 350. Of that 350, 35 went on to college. And so I decided, that was very clear to me that some of the biggest forms of injustice today revolve around the lack of educational opportunity for low-income students and their families. And so I decided that my movement was going to be one of education. But then I realized, if I'm going to be a fighter for education, then I need to be on the battlefield. So I came out to LA over 10 years ago, taught in South LA and Watts, and it was the most powerful experience of my life. because I realize, and I think every teacher will tell you this, every single issue that we deal with on a federal, on a state, on a local level, that plays out in the classroom every single day. So whether or not my students succeed depends on whether they have access to affordable health care, whether there's affordable housing in their neighborhood, whether or not there's criminal justice reform. And so that's really why I'm running, is because all of those issues are interconnected. So when we talk about an agenda of opportunity, then we really have to be talking about, do we have leaders in DC, in Sacramento, and City Hall that really understand how all that is connected so that we can fight against injustice and provide that agenda of opportunity?
I noticed on your very well done commercials, you were first out of the gate of all of these 23 candidates, that you really made a point of hitting President Trump. And, he has, for better or for worse, captured the imagination. I don't know how to say that in a better way of the country. I know that I think he likes it, but we're obsessed with what he's going to do to us. How does that theme of taking on President Trump help or hurt you in your campaign?
Well, I think that it's very clear, the 34th district is one of the most diverse, most progressive districts in this country. We also have a lot of very vulnerable communities right now, whether you're talking about immigrants, whether you're talking about women, whether you're talking about minorities, people that live below the poverty line. And so I think we absolutely need a leader that is going to take on Trump in a very, very real way. But not just take him on, not just fight just to fight, because I think you're right. That's what he wants. We've almost developed a really bad habit of and I do this too. I open up the news, or I open up my news app
what did that son of a gun say?
I have to see what he said. So we can't just fight him just to fight, because that's what he wants. What we need to do is we need leaders that are going to be strategic, that have a track record of really understanding how federal dollars and federal involvement plays in regards to our local issues and our local priorities, and really understand how do we need to deliver to improve the lives of people that actually live in this district. And so for me, I really think that that's what drives me. It's not, I don't just feel really passionately about fighting injustice. I've actually done that work. I've done that work in the classroom. I've done that work as a teacher. I've done that work as a lawyer. I started a nonprofit that provides educational opportunity to low-income kids. I've sent dozens of my kids to college. I've worked on issues of homelessness. I've worked with county and city officials on the streets at Skid Row. I've worked with small business. So it's really, I think we really need people in DC. We need to invest in the next generational leadership that isn't just going to fight, but really figure out how do we solve these problems and how do we deliver for our community.
Let's go to the campaign.
Yeah.
You have, oh my God, a really crowded field.
Yes.
I think we were talking before the interview, over 20 candidates in the race. And I get that. I mean, being a member of Congress is a really big deal. It's a meaningful, important, it's almost a permanent sort of standard of living, right?
Yeah.
How do you signal and separate yourself from the pack? It must be crazy if these candidates forums with all these people. How do you shoot out that Sara Hernandez star and get noticed?
Yeah, well,
how do you do that?
I think that it's a very good question, because there's a lot of great, there's a lot of great individuals in this race that have a lot of great different attributes and qualities, right? There's a lot of people that have a great personal story. There's people with experience that have been elected officials and then passed legislation. There are people that have been activists, really fighting for causes. But really what I think, my candidacy is about is not just about my story, it's not just about my activism, but it's actually doing what I truly, truly believe in and delivering those results for people. That is the way I've really, the way I live through my professional and personal career. As a teacher, it wasn't enough for me to just be teaching in the classroom and talking about education and fighting for education. I really needed to see some real results with the life trajectories of my students, and that's why I started the nonprofit that I did. As someone who cares very deeply about the 34th district, it wasn't enough to just talk about homelessness policy. While I'm a huge supporter of Measure H, which just passed yesterday,
just barely.
Measure H, but passed. I also felt like we need to make sure that we're improving our systems on the ground. That's why I was one of the people that spearheaded C3, City County Community, which provides direct outreach and services to people in Skid Row experiencing homelessness. So it's actually the on-the-ground work that I can point to, whether it's those things or starting the public-private partnership to increase and really revitalize and renovate our public space in downtown LA through Pershing Square Avenue. It's really pointing to things that have actually improved the lives of people in this district, not just policy, not just legislation, but actual tangible things that I think are really, really important people want to see. Because we've gone through a whole cycle of a lot of rhetoric and a lot of messaging. People really want to see that there's some tangible results that people can provide to their communities.
We are sitting here at Sabor Colombiano on International Women's Day.
Yes.
And therefore, in recognition of International Women's Day, what is your message to the women in CD 34?
Well, so in honor of National Women's Day, I actually have this shirt that says, "Well-behaved women rarely make history."
So misbehave.
Yes, exactly. But that's
disrupt.
Disrupt. I mean, that's the theme of the day, and then that's what people are doing right now. It's a day without a woman. I think that one of the very few silver linings of everything that we've gone through post November 8th is that people have awoken to this idea and this concept that democracy requires vigilance. A well-run democracy means that we have to constantly, we constantly need to be working and fighting for our civil rights. Civil rights doesn't just happen and then end. It is a constant evolutionary process. I think Coretta Scott King said something of that nature. We have to win our own civil rights in every generation.
Sad but true.
So you have women on the street right now that are disrupting, that are not behaving, that are really making sure that we continue to move forward so that our daughters, continue to have, and enjoy the rights and even more rights than we've had previously. So for women, I've mentored a lot of young women. I've taught a lot of young girls. I think that we must disrupt and we must demand that people pay attention to women's issues because they're under attack right now.
Would you like to say anything to the viewers and our listeners? We'll be both on podcasting and video casting on how to contact your campaign and how to work with you.
Always. So my name is Sara Hernandez, and I'm running for Congress, and this is a grassroots campaign. We are doing everything possible that we can to make sure that we get our message out to the voters on April 4th, which is the primary. So we need you. So if you are interested in volunteering, we are walking, we are phone banking, we are utilizing any skill or resource that you may have that you can contribute to the campaign. You can go to www.sarahhernandezforcongress.com and sign up on our volunteer sheet, or you can come visit us at our campaign office in downtown Los Angeles. It's right on Spring Street, 528 South Spring Street, between 5th and 6th. We'd love to have your support and your help.
There you have it. Sara Hernandez, top-tier candidate for CD 34. You like it? Top tier, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Check her out at Sara Hernandez for Congress. And check us out at Southwest Voter Registration Education Project and Strategy Session, two different Facebooks. This luncheon is part of a series of 8 luncheons that are promoting the Southwest Voter Annual Benefit on May 11th. Sabor de las Americas. That's what we're having in the restaurants. It's about the food, good company, good politics. That's it for me today. I'm Antonio Gonzalez for Strategy Session, signing off.